You're listening to Espresso Jams, short, concentrated, delicious conversations about business, technology, and entrepreneurship. If you're just starting out on your business adventure or you're a seasoned business professional, I'm sure you'll find value in these short conversations. Espresso Jams is brought to you by Apexible, providing the tools, insights, and transformative structures to help you reach your business summit. I'm your host, Joe Matz. Let's get started. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Espresso Jams. Today, I'm talking with Katia Ravé, and if I hope I pronounced that right. Sometimes
Yes.
all right, the accent there on the e there still confuses me at some level. But Katia Ravé is a leadership and business coach, and she is also the author of 3 books. And it's such a pleasure to have you here, Katia. Welcome to Espresso Jams.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Joe. What a pleasure to be on your show this morning.
It's great, and we've known each other for quite some time now. Personally, physically, we've been in the same room, right? And in the last 2 years, we've seen each other on screen, right?
Yes. And I think, I used to have a show, so you were also on my show. So I think it's
Yes.
it's great when we know each other too,
Yes, yes. And I understand you recently moved, so you're not hailing from the Raleigh area anymore, are you?
No, I am still in North Carolina, but we are right outside of Ocean Isle. We moved to the beach. We are enjoying this gorgeous weather and having the ocean, and it really supports us to be very creative into what we're doing.
Oh, so you're finding inspiration by being close to the beach.
Very much so. I was born actually as I was born in France, and by the water. And I don't think I realized how much the water inspired me until I moved away from the water.
Mm.
And I always said, then I will go back. And with my business, I feel like I coach full time, so there's a certain reward about being around the water and seeing it just to recharge and to be inspired to be creative.
Yes, I also find inspiration by the waters. I lived in the water in North Carolina. I also lived by the water in Italy, where I was
Hmm.
2 blocks away from the water, so I could walk to the beach, and it was absolutely beautiful. I love to go there, and I always wanted to be sure I wasn't one of those persons who lived by the water but would go weeks without seeing the water. You know, there are people who
Yeah.
live in Sneed's Ferry, and I'm sure there are people who live in Wilmington, where they're five,
Yeah.
10 minutes from the beach, and they don't see the beach for months and months.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who lives in Florida, and I was like, oh my gosh, do you go every day? Like we pretty much see the water every day. We go walk on the beach, and like even at lunchtime, sometimes I just need like and I just go. It takes me 5 minutes to drive there, and I'm there for 15 minutes, and I'm back. I mean, it's a very easy pick me up.
Yes. Oh, that's great. That is great. Because as coaches, we also need to be inspired. We also need inspiration. Isn't
Very
that
much
true?
so.
Um, so tell me a little bit about what you do and how you help your clients.
So I'm a business coach, business and leadership coach, and I really help entrepreneurs to make more money, to understand what step that they are in and what to do. I give them the strategy on how to operate their business. So at the end of the day, they have a message. They know how to communicate, because usually this is the biggest thing that we see is people have great things to sell, but they don't know where is their ideal client. They don't have a concise message, and they don't know how to sell. So this is basically what we teach. So at the end of the day, they make more money. They have a concise message. They know how to get on stage. They know how to speak, and really to communicate what kind of pain do they resolve for their client.
What kind of pain they resolve. So there's solution to the problem.
Correct. And that's it. Like, a lot of entrepreneurs have great ideas and they come up with these amazing things.
Hmm.
But if you're not solving a problem in the world, nobody's going to buy it.
Right.
Right. I agree with that 100%. It's so important to understand the problem of your ideal market and be able to articulate it as well or even better than your client.
Yeah. And being very concise. Like,
Mm.
I mean, so many of us have gone to a networking event and we have walked away with, like from someone going like, what do they do? Like, we all have had this experience of,
Yes.
walking away from someone, we listen to them for 10 minutes and we still don't know what they do. How can you communicate in, 15 seconds? I mean, I told you, I say, hey, I help, entrepreneur to make more money, to have a concise message, to understand the avatar and to know how to sell. I mean, I don't need 3 hours for that,
Right. No, no, no. You need very, very short time. And as
Yeah,
I understand it, if you are a true expert in a subject, you can explain it quickly to a fourth grader.
that's right. That's right. Use language and everybody can, can understand. And I love that you said that because I always tell my client, I was like, could you say that to a kid? Would they understand what you do? And a lot of time, when we use words who are way too big, and it's like, no, just stay simple.
Yeah, stay away from big words and lexicon in your particular
Yes.
industry.
Yeah, very
Yes.
much so.
And especially, I have to throw this out there for everyone who's listening. If you have a long something in your industry and you condense it into 4 letters or 5 letters, a lot of time I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. It's
We
so
do, and
true.
then they use one word, right? Yes, we'll just take the Reese and we'll do this with it. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. No, but it's so true. But we go back to communication, right? So many, and this is something. Then this is where we use leadership into being an entrepreneur. It's how do you communicate with every style? How do you communicate with every personality? In most of the world, there is four. We distinguish between four different personality. How do you communicate in a way that then everybody will understand? What kind of word, what kind of energy do you put in? I mean, are you considering then you have people with different personality in front of you, or are you just talking for the people who are just like you? Well, then you limit your market.
Right, right. Yeah, when I spoke from stage, I was always clear to use the auditory, the visual. So I would say, "Can you see what I mean?" Or I should, another time I would say, "Do you hear what I'm saying?" Or "Can you hear the sound of the ocean as I describe the sailboat going through the waves?" And
Yeah.
trying to get the visual, the hearing. Smell is a little bit more difficult for me. Can you smell the salt air of the ocean? Maybe that would work, right?
Yeah,
But
I will.
you talk about different personalities and communicating to different personalities. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. So, someone like me is, I'm someone who's full of energy, like pretty much the moment I open my eyes in the morning until at night. I have the energy going, I am go, go, go. And, the style of people that I attract, of course, is my style. Now, someone like you, when I talk with you, like the way I came in on camera, I tamed down a little bit who I am fully
Mm.
because I can be too much and I can scare people, especially people who are more analyzers. Like you're someone who's very, 1, 2, 3, 4 stages. So I knew, from our previous, previous, I remembered your personality. And I also came on knowing then I get to analyze how is the person across from
Mm.
me and who are the listeners. So, for example, I don't know if you know this, I changed my glasses right before we went on camera.
Oh,
I had a regular pair of glasses and I changed to be on camera because this is appealing also to the people exactly like me, even if I don't have the energy. Even if I'm taming my energy, I'm still going to appeal because of the glasses versus the other ones than I had on before. So I really
mhm.
match a lot of the things that I do when I present to be able to appeal to everybody. There's also the language that I use.
Yes, I really like that because I understand that, I lived in three continents. I speak three languages, and I know you speak a number of languages too. When I'm on stage in Portuguese in Brazil and speaking Portuguese, people tell me that my personality changes.
Of course, of course.
That,
It does. Like
do you
when,
know?
if I speak French, I am very, I'm also very different. Like my hands are everywhere, like everything take over already, like I'm careful on camera. This is
Sure.
something then I am very aware, then I speak a lot. So sometimes like, people only see my hands. And at the beginning, I saw them, that was something on stage, it doesn't really matter. But on virtual stage, when your hands are in front of the camera, that so you get to really adjust basically. But yeah, and cultures are different when I
Right.
speak, like what you were saying, your energy is different when you speak a different language. Yes, but the culture is different. I dress very different on a stage in Europe than I do in America.
Mm. Yes. Yes, I had my stage suit, and I had one that was bright green because you
Yeah,
have to project a distance,
correct,
and it's different on camera. Sure, sure. And
correct.
I only use that suit on stage.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I'm the same. I have a stage outfit. Then,
Yeah.
it's pretty much, it's like when I'm on stage, this is what I wear because the same thing. We get to project and we get to appeal and yet staying authentic to who we are.
Yes. Yes. So leadership is usually thought of as leading other people and being a leader in front of other people. But a lot of entrepreneurs are solopreneurs.
Yeah.
How does leadership um, I'm losing my words here. How does being an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, and leadership, what is important with that relationship?
So one of the big thing then I realized is to be a, to we all know to be a leader, to lead other people, like what you say, you need to lead yourself first. And most of the time, people are very good at leading others, but they're not very good at leading themselves. It's, talk the talk, but don't walk the walk.
Hmm.
In entrepreneurship, it's the opposite. In entrepreneurship, you really get to understand how do you lead yourself? How are you in integrity with your own word? Are you showing up when you say you were going to show up for yourself? Or are you letting everything else take over? Most of us who are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, we work at home.
Yeah.
How do you get distracted? Today I'm going to do this. At the end of the day, it's still not done. Well, that's leadership. The problem is people don't see it that way,
Hmm.
right? They see then, oh yeah, oh, you don't understand, I need to do a load of laundry, or I needed to cook, or I saw then, it's like, if you were really taking seriously your work, like you were getting paid. I tell all of my clients, I want you to show up at work like you're getting paid $500,000,
Hmm.
because that's the possibilities
Yes.
if you really show up,
Yeah, I
right?
like that.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So how are you going to show up? I show up in my office, whether I'm on camera or not. I show up dressed up. I have earrings. I have makeup on because, well, I am the CEO of the company. The fact that there is, I mean, my staff is not really. I have one person then who's in the same house than me, who's on my staff. But beside that, it's for me.
Right.
How do I show up for me?
Yeah, I
That's
think
integrity.
it's so important, and you want to feel professional.
Correct.
And I need to dress up a little bit. I might have a sweatshirt on during the day, for example, if I'm not on camera. But I need to feel at least like I'm dressed, I'm ready to go, I'm in my element. And I've been working from home since 1985.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but most of my work life I've been working from home. And I have found that I wear a lot of hats. I'm the leader, I'm the planner, I'm the doer. I'm my own coach sometimes. I'm not very good at that. That's why I have another coach for coaching me. I'm good at coaching others, and all that stuff. So, but, my dogs will distract me sometimes.
Mm.
But when I'm in my office and my wife is next door, she's in her office, I often don't see her except at lunch. maybe when we walk the dogs during the day, and when we're thinking about dinner, and after the workday's over. So we really
Yeah.
have to be disciplined there.
Yeah, discipline and time management is
Yes.
leadership. I mean, there's finances is leadership.
Yes.
We know so many business owners. You ask them where they're so good about telling me where they want to be. I want to make, I want to be at six figure. It's pretty much the answer of everybody. I want to be at six figure. I'm like, oh, okay, well, where are you at now? That way we can see what's in the gap. I don't know. Well, if you don't know your numbers, this is a part of leadership.
Yes. Yes.
How can you get to a certain point if you don't know where you start? Right. And all of this is a huge part of entrepreneurship. It's not, no matter how much I'm going to give you the strategies or the next step, if you don't put it in place, if you don't have the time management, if you don't have the rigor, the integrity, what's your own word, if you're getting distracted all the time, then no matter how many strategy I give you, if you don't implement, we
Right.
won't get there.
Right. I see so many things online, and so many things I get in my email that are talking about processes and systems, but they don't talk about implementation.
Yes.
And you can fill up your brain, you can fill up your screen and your documents with all these things, but they forget about the implementation. Like, I know
Yeah.
people who collect PDFs, and they collect
Mhm.
ebooks, and they've got a whole stack of them that they've never read.
Correct.
And
And even I love that you said that, because even if they read it, there's a difference between reading it, getting the information, and having a plan.
yes,
A lot of time they have the wish. They have the wish. They're like, oh yeah, I wish I could get there, but they're not willing to do the work who goes with it. And I think that's the difference between a successful entrepreneur and, someone who's still, are you hiring a coach? Are you really getting there? Are you doing the work, or are you just getting yourself busy doing things who are not money generating
that's
and
right.
not implementing, like what you just said?
That's right. Busyness is not business.
Love that.
So yeah, we have to have that leadership hat.
Mm-hmm.
And
Very
then
much so.
for a solopreneur, especially one that's just starting out, they need that doer hat, because you've got to work in your business and you've got to work on your business.
Yeah.
And
And those are two different things.
they are very different. Yeah. Yeah, and it's not always easy, because sometimes, the old saying is, if you put your nose to the grindstone, the only thing you get is a ground up nose.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got to lift up. You've got to go to the ocean and look out far in the ocean and see the ship sailing and using the wind, and you have to see that long perspective.
Yeah. I think that's that. Goals are not just wishes. And how, excuse me, how do you implement your goals? I love the ship. I mean, so for us in our company, we don't work the last week of the month. The last week of the month is only creativity.
Hmm.
So nobody would dare to send me an email or anything or text, or because the last week of the month, it's where I am on the beach and writing. So I'm writing my fourth book right now, or I'm seeing something like you said, like the other day, I saw a shrimp boat and they, looked like they were stuck. And the way the boat was acting and reacting in the ocean gave me a huge perspective
Hmm.
on how to help a client. I was like, oh my gosh, this is genius. Wrote
Yeah.
it down. And so things can come to you, when you are also into these, oh, let me look at a different perspective.
Yes.
This is how you grow.
Yes, and you have to take that time. I love that you take the last week of the month off, and I am I'm not at a point where I take it off completely, but I take very few appointments the last week of the month. I try and use that for the creativity, for
Mhm.
the recreation that I like to pronounce recreation.
Yeah.
A-
Yeah. Yeah.
And we need that time.
We do. And just to read and like, this is my time to read, because we know we have this, the 3 week we work fully on our client on, we're putting an event in the fall. It's going to be a 2-day event for, not just for clients. So we're so busy with that and delivering to our client and continuing, the business, then there's no time really then allowed, to read because, and I don't feel bad about it because I know that my last week, this is where, okay, I have these 3 books and that's what I'm going to be reading on the last week. So it's a way of continuing growing as well.
So you're taking leadership in a way and you're planning out your time. So you've got time in those 3 weeks to do what needs to be done in those 3 weeks. And you've got time to do what needs to be done also in that last week.
Yes, very, very much so. We plan and we coach our client. Everything is 90 days. So we get to achieve goals in 90 days. We don't look at the year. We just look at 90 days. So everything gets condensed also on 3 weeks a month.
Yes.
So how do you get to do everything then you say you were going to do? Again, leadership, right? How you say you're going to do something, when you say you were going to do something, and with who, and all of these part is so important. And then you had the last week is really just, whatever you want. I mean, for us, it's have fun, have, like our writing, our reading, our kind of whatever we want it, really whatever we want to do. Yeah.
Right. Now, when I talk with clients and we talk about everything they want to do and they put it all on the list, the next step is to see what we don't need to do, what is not a priority for now, and the not do list is also important. And the postpone list, sometimes it's the most productive time because the client comes away thinking, oh, I was so overwhelmed with this huge list, and now it's just 3 or 4 things that I need to focus on.
And support, I think support, we wouldn't be where we are today if I didn't have support. Well, I have now 3 people on my staff, right? And one of them being my husband. And it's just, it's huge because I am truly now just I'm the face of the company and I deliver. Those are my 2 jobs. I am the creator, the behind the scene. I, where I create and then they do. And, I tell them this is what it's going to look like and I pass it along. And this is, today I'm on 3 podcasts.
Wow.
Right. So, but that's it. How do I condense also days where this is all I'm going to do? Because, well, I'm on a roll. I have a way of thinking was very different than when I coach client. I have days for coaching clients. I have days when, I appear on shows. Mindset is very different.
Yes, of course. So this has been a great conversation, Katia.
Thank you.
Now, for our listeners today, what can you give them as a takeaway that they can implement and do? What would be the one thing today?
The one thing that I would tell them is make a schedule. Have a daily schedule. We have, I'm going to show you mine of yesterday. I have a schedule. I'm going to show you, mine of today of the 5 most important things who gets to be done today. So those, I do not leave my office until these 5 things are done. It's as simple as that.
That's excellent. You've got to be the leader of your time.
Here you go. And then I know, at 9:30, 9:30, 10, I had Joe. Then, after, like in between the shows, I wrote down the 5 things that I need to do when I'm going to do them. So they're already on my schedule. Yeah. It's like it's an appointment. It's an appointment with me.
Yes. And that's the most important.
Yeah. And I think, if the listeners could really take it on to have a schedule, whether it's on your calendar or, for me, it's on paper, that just saves you.
Right. And I sure appreciate you blocking out the time to talk with me and provide some value to our listeners.
Thank you for having me.
Now, if someone wants to learn more about you and your business, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
The best place is to go on our website, and I am a texter. So I actually give my phone number. So my number is 919 308-5330. And you can go on any single social media under Katia Rave or Rave, Katia, KATIA.RAVE.com. And then just found us on Facebook, Instagram. We're everywhere. Just send a message and we'll get back to you.
Okay, great. And can you repeat your phone number one more time for our listeners?
Yes, 919-308-5330. And you can just text, hey, I saw you on Joe's, podcast this morning. And, I could, if you want one of those worksheets, I'll give you one of those worksheets. Anything that you can really take today to move yourself forward. That's a win.
Great. Yeah, that's a win. That's so good. So nice.
Thanks.
Katia, once again, it has been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me, Joe. As usual, it's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you. Always good. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Thank you for listening to Espresso Jams. If you like what you heard, please subscribe on your preferred channel and never miss another episode. If you'd like more business tips on technology, entrepreneurship, and doing better, you can find me on LinkedIn at Joe Matz, that's JoeMatz, or go to my website, apexable.com, that's apex-able.com. I'm your host, Joe Matz, wishing you an awesome day.